Hi, welcome on the channel Kids Solution. Where are you? Now, people say that with science and technology, we do good things. And sometimes science and technology can be misused for something bad. Now, I disagree with that, and I can give you a couple of examples why. Now, I say that science is used for bad, and sometimes it might seem that it is used for good, and sometimes it can be misused to do something good. Okay, now let me give you the following examples. So it gives us power, control over nature, things, and other people, but it doesn't change our heart. It cannot give us a love. Okay, so it's easy to destroy things, but it's difficult to repair them, to cure them. It's easy to cut a leaf, but it's difficult to put it back together. Not almost impossible. It's easy to drop a drop of ink into water or even poison. It's more difficult to neutralize that poison or ink or to separate them once again. So time, energy, a lot more time is required to do that. So this is the issue here, you see. Now, in us is rage. We tend to lie. We have tendency to lie, manipulate others, we don't value others. We value things and fame and whatever pleasures, bodily pleasures, more than people. Okay. And if we would have power that we could kill with eye look, and science could give us such power, who would survive? Now, this was exaggerated example, but it's a limiting case. We are heading toward there. So, there was one guy, a very brilliant mathematician, Ted Kaczynski, known as Unabomber. I don't support his, I don't agree with his approach. He put some bombs at universities or in other places, but well, his thinking was quite interesting. And see, he realized he had experience firsthand how science can be misused, and always is. CIA or just evil people. It doesn't matter what is the organization. It could be you. Are you good? Have you never hurt anyone? Okay, so that's in us. Science cannot deal with that. So CIA performed some experiments on him. Okay, he was a brilliant scientist, mathematician, and he was worthless for those people. So he saw that this is very dangerous, I guess. He saw that. He gave a couple of examples which are really descriptive, clearly. Everyone can understand them, how science works. Okay. Now I'm remembering this. I'm telling you this out of memory. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is how I remember things. He gave example in his manifesto, Unabomber, example of cars. You see, technology and high technology always comes like in a deceiving way, always promising you more freedom, more opportunity, everything just plus, but no minus. But in reality, it's not so. See, people before cars were developed could walk, ride a horse, and so on and so forth. And then cars came. Oh, you see, this is another. It's an opportunity. If you want to take it, you travel faster and this and that. But if you don't want, you don't. And so it was it was promising. This was promising to people a higher degree of freedom. But together with cars, so it was a possibility, opportunity, a possibility, if you want. Now there are places in the world where you are pretty much obliged to have car. It's not, a question of freedom anymore. You have to have car. Okay, well, not exactly, but it's very inconvenient to live without car. So this is one way. Another way, there is more pollution and so on. And the third thing is that, you see, before you could walk cross roads when you wanted and where you wanted, if there were no horses there or they said that. Now there are roads and you cannot cross them. You cannot, when you want, where you want, even if there is no vehicle on that road, you cannot walk on the road. So freedom was taken away from people. See, this is a nice example how whole science and technology, high technologies, magic works. Cheating. You are cheated. Now, my personal example was when I was a believer in science and as a student of physics, I had to make my mind to where will I continue my studies, my career. And, possibility was nanotechnology. At that time, like 2000 something, nanotechnology started to develop a little bit faster, and I said so much energy and everything was invested in me by society and by myself, so maybe in this field I can contribute something to the better to this world. Okay, so why not nanotechnology? And I investigated things and I was like shocked when I read that when we produce nanoparticles, we produce with those nanoparticles a huge amount of microparticles, and microparticles are very toxic for our respiratory system. Okay, so they are life damaging things, objects. And I thought at that time, come on, if microparticles are devastating for such structures, what then can nanoparticles do? They can mess up with processes which go on in our cells, with DNA, with consequences can be terrible. And yeah, maybe 7-8 years later, maybe 10, I read that nanoparticles, let's say some nanoparticles in water, are in very small concentrations deadly to many fishes. It's a question of hours and they are killed. So it's not a joke. And then later, maybe 7-8 years later, when I realized that nanotechnology is not the thing to do, one of the pioneers, let's say, in the area where I live, pioneers in this region in nanotechnology, had a seminar for scientific community and for people who are working with nanotechnology. And the topic of that seminar was how this nanotechnology is toxic, dangerous, that they need some regulation laws to protect who, nature and people, know them who are working with nanotechnology. See, they don't care for about others, just about themselves. But the point is that I was right. The thing is very dangerous. So, you see. But in scientific magazines and in media, it was always said, what, we can make nanorobots and they will cure you, and they will perform micro surgeries, which we cannot perform, and we will live longer and we will be more healthier, and so on and so forth. Well, you don't need to be rocket scientists to figure out that the same technology, they will cut, or there is veins, arteries, whatever, tissues. The same robots can be used to kill you, If you don't agree with someone, if you don't want to obey a particular person, and people, you can either live in love or for control. People want to control others, If you don't obey them, so you don't have to be rocket scientists to figure it out. But media and scientists didn't speak about those things, because people would say, well, we don't want that. But I'm not blaming just media and scientists, because ordinary people could, if they would want that, they would figure that out by themselves, that this can be misused. And they would say, no, we don't want that. We don't want to support these things. But they went along. Okay, another things are like chips in our heads. Okay, it's great, we can download many knowledge, how to dance, how to be good in martial arts, whatever. Oh, it's so great. Yeah, we can expand ourselves. Well, we can next step in evolution. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's great. And again, you don't need to be a rocket scientist that you figure out, what do computers have? Viruses. Who wrote viruses? People who want to take something away from you, who want to take money, energy, whatever, who want to control you against love. Yes, love. This is against love once again. So what would prevent those people to write some malware, viruses or whatever program for you, and you would download that program into yourself, and they could implant memories in you, they could erase memories in you, they could make you to do whatever you don't want to do. That terrifying, and no one speaks about that. See, always pluses, always good, always promising greater amount of freedom, but at the end, freedom is lost. And the greater power science has, more we have less and less freedom.
I'm supposed to start with these operation programs first. This major bar and shed. Let's do something a little more fun. How about combat training? Jiu-jitsu. I'm going to learn jiu-jitsu. Holy shit. Yeah, Mikey, I think he likes it. How about some more? Hell yes. Hell yeah.
So, let me give you another example. Let's say lake or some disease, person with some disease. Okay. Now lake, we can purify one lake, make it clean. Yeah, that's great. Or there is one person and we cure that person. That's great. But, yeah, and people say, well, just imagine, you see, with technology, we purify that lake, we made it clean, we healed that person, Just imagine how many lakes we could make clean, how many people we could heal. But see, here is a trick. This is not the whole picture. You can imagine, of course, you have to imagine, because if you would objectively evaluate everything, you would see that these things don't work. You see, to purify some lake with like high technology, just ask yourself, we have to evaluate everything, of course, you know, how much energy have we consumed to make that lake pure? How much toxic waste have we produced to make that energy and to make machines? And how much time was invested into development and for sustaining that technology? How many human lives, hours? Okay, and what have we done with all this dirt, toxic waste which we collected? Have we dumped that somewhere in the other lake or whatever? So have we burned that and produced even more toxic waste, or what? You see, those things we have to evaluate. And regarding diseased person, well, you see, we are changing the environment with technology so much that it becomes toxic for living creatures and even ourselves, and therefore there are more and more diseases. And if we cure one disease, and with this cure we make 10 more diseases, it's not working. Okay, but if you want to be a believer, just believe. But you know, it's devastating. But, you know, I want to be honest, so I try to analyze everything, okay, good or bad, and then I make my decision. Now, science and technology, they could be used for something very, very good, you see. They could save lives, living creatures. See, when I was like 7, 8 years old, maybe 9, 10, I read books where it was written that in 2010 we will have colonies, we will colonize a moon, and then I was dreaming about colonizing Mars and so on and so forth. And at that time in school they told us that dinosaurs were extincted, you know, because some comets or whatever, rocks from the sky, fell on the earth. And we don't know, maybe this will happen in the next 20 years or something. Today say maybe to the 2030 it could happen, and this and that. But you know, it could happen tomorrow, because we don't know. So for me it was reasonable that we would invest our energy and time, all humankind, all humanity, myself included, to build colonies in moon, to take their plants, animals, and to colonize Mars too. And you know, and if something falls from out of sky to the earth, you know, life can survive on moon and on Mars, and we can colonize once again Earth. That would be reasonable for me to do, if you love, if you have heart, if you love. But you know, supposedly we landed on moon in 1960s, and today we cannot go on moon. It's not that we don't have colonies there, we haven't been on the moon from that time on. So something is wrong. So first of all, our hearts are not working, and science cannot correct that. If we would love life, animals, plants, that would be our goal. Okay, to transfer life there, to figure out how to construct ecosystems which would work by themselves on moon, on Mars. But instead of that, we are destroying animals and plants here on the earth. And it's also, something doesn't make sense here, you see. It's also the question, it also doesn't make sense. Something is wrong with thinking. we don't know everything. Something is missing here. Why are we not doing that? Were we on the moon? Have we landed on the moon? Maybe we didn't. Maybe we don't know something, because we are just wasting our time. We are not preparing ourselves for something which, according to scientists, is inevitable. Is that the word? Okay. We are just having fun. We are consuming energy, which, instead of using time and energy to preserve life, we are destroying life. So this could be the thing. But we are not doing that, so something is not right here. You see, the thing is that we receive gifts from science, and that's why our judgment is blurred. It's not just. And we go on. Oh, it's not like that. Oh, you are wrong, but you don't use arguments. You know I'm right. You know science is devastating. Well, we cannot do anything. If everyone would change, then we would change. Liar. If everybody would change, everyone can say that. And no one's fault it is. It's no one's fault. No, it's Illuminati. No, it's every one of us. Okay.